What method or methods will you use to market your services? One medium you might consider is newspaper advertising. Now, I have read that over 55% of all consumers find that print newspaper ads, such as magazines or newspapers, are trustworthy. Another thing that I have heard is that over 60% of adult consumers read the newspaper in some fashion, and of those, over 60% pay attention to advertisements when they are reading. Now, most newspapers and magazines also have the digital reach as well, and often show their ads both in print and to the digital reader, which can expand your advertising dollar. Some of the cons: shelf life is a big one. Once the reader has read it, they are usually done with it and will seldom ever pick it up again, except maybe to reference something. There's also the decrease in newsprint readership. This has been going on for decades, and while there is a good percentage of people that do read the paper, either in print or online, information indicates that this is usually not cover-to-cover reading, rather it is article-to-article reading. A huge con for print media advertising is the cost. On average, a 4 by 10 inch ad would cost around $500 to run just one time. This is based on $12 per inch for black and white. Now, one thing you will always need to consider is your ROI, or return on investment, for your advertising. If you are confident that running that one $500 ad will gain you one client, and a client is worth, let's say, $1,500, then you have a good 3-to-1 ROI. However, there's no guarantee that ad will produce any calls, let alone clients. Often print advertising, as well as other types of advertising, is used for brand awareness. When they need your services, they will hopefully remember your name. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Let's look at another type of advertising: radio ads. These types of ads can be very beneficial or can be very detrimental to your budget. One of the pros to radio advertising is that you can target your audience demographically. Different radio stations utilize different formats, such as news, oldies, rock, country, hip-hop, just to name a few. To use radio advertising to its fullest, you need to first decide who is your target audience. Are you targeting families? Are you targeting teens? Are you targeting working class men and women? Are you targeting stay-at-home parents? There's a lot of homework that you have to put into deciding this. Then you need to decide what station can best help you hit your target audience. You also have to consider the time of day, the show that it's on, and other criteria. Another pro is that radio ads can be created very quickly, and some radio stations will even let you provide your own ad. But then you have another set of decisions to make. Done correctly, radio ads do have the possibility to bring huge returns. Done incorrectly, they have the ability to shrink your financial resources rapidly. The biggest con for radio advertising is probably the cost. A typical 30-second radio spot ad can run you anywhere from a few $100s to a few $1,000s. Morning and evening rush hour times are the best times usually for business service type ads. This is also usually the most expensive time frame that you will see when you're looking at these ads. The competition is stiff for these time frames, and if your competitors have deeper pockets, then they can just keep getting more of their ads surrounding your ads. Another con for radio ads in today's electronic world: many times those ads just become white noise in the background. People are texting, they're talking, they're reading, you name it, even when they're not supposed to be, like when they're driving their cars. Now, as a general rule, I have always found that radio ads work best for larger companies that need to keep a constant message out to the same target market. Now, email newsletters have grown in popularity over the last few years. One of the biggest reasons they have become so popular is their low cost to produce. Now, don't get me wrong. You can find ways to spend lots of money on software packages and email services, things like that. But in general, they can be low cost if you want to put some of the upfront work in yourself. Another pro to the email newsletter approach is that you can target your existing clients, which is great if you have consumable products or consumable services. So if you do background checks, you can email your regular clients regularly with an article on new techniques that you use, new laws in place, and how using your services protects their businesses and their assets. You can also fairly easily track the progress success with most email newsletters. You can see how many times they were delivered, how many were open, how much read time you actually had. You can actually see if you're really reaching your audience. If, however, you do not have a disposable service like this, let's say you do cheating spouse surveillance cases, you probably aren't going to succeed advertising to your past clients very much. You could still do this type of advertising by purchasing mailing lists, but this is more of a shotgun approach and can dwindle away financial resources. Your emails could also get marked as spam with newsletter marketing. This can happen very quickly, and once one email spam filter marks it as spam, others will follow suit quickly. Then your newsletter just ends up in the trash unread with zero ROI. This could also affect your regular emails going to your clients as well. If the spam filters think you are prone to spam, you could get blocked all of the time. So pay particular attention to ensure that your email campaigns never go out using one of your regular email accounts or one of your regular domains. Let's take a look at a simple marketing strategy that most PIs will use. Business cards. Yep, business cards. That is part of marketing. Well, if done correctly, it's part of marketing. If your business card just has your name on it, then it probably isn't much of a marketing tool. When done correctly, your business cards can be a huge tool for you. Make sure you include your company name and your name and all of your contact information. Things like your address, your phone, your email. It should also have your website address on there, your PI license. I also suggest you utilize the back of the card to put key services that you offer on the back. Now make sure you use a font that is very easy to read, and make sure that you use colors that are very pleasant to look at, and make sure you use graphics that are very appealing to everyone. The biggest con to business cards is when people get too fancy, too carried away, and too obnoxious. Those cards will end up in the trash quicker than anything. Now, I once got a business card from a fellow PI who used robot-style text. That wasn't weird enough. I emailed him, and his email came back with that same stupid robot font. I had a small job for him to test his skills, and his report came back to me with that same stupid robot font. I paid him the $100 I owed him. I redid the report myself. I've never used him again. Did his card get him a job? Yeah, sure, it got him one little job. The worst part was he did really good out there. He's trying to impress me. What's he going to do if he's sitting in a court of law?